Marhaban and welcome. That is welcome in Arabic. I hope I said it correctly and didn't butcher it up too much. I hope everyone is doing well and welcome to Ticket to Life. This is Henrie, and yes, I am your lovely hostess of the mostest. I hope everyone has had a good past week. I know I have. Still, our baby grandson is not here, but I'm waiting patiently. But the weather is doing so much better. Here's your local Texas report from the DFW. We are finally in the 80s. We had a few days finally. A little bit of rain here and there, not a lot, but you know what? We will be happy because we are Texas, and we'll just be happy with what we get. The other great thing that is going on is football season has begun. Now, I may have mentioned in a previous podcast that my family, we are in a fantasy football league. So much fun. The downfall on this is that I always on my bench, I always have a backup quarterback. Well, my backup quarterback was, notice I say was, Aaron Rodgers. And unfortunately, last night he tore his Achilles and he is out for the season. It's really hard to even imagine him going to the New York Jets and getting excited about winning and being on the team. And I think Hard Knocks, this is not sponsored by any affiliate of the NFL or TV or channels or whatever stations. They are Hard Knocks is on the New York Jets. I have yet to see it, but I do want to see it because I've heard it's really good this season. But unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers is out there and he is wounded for the season, and we wish him well. Hopefully he will. He's 39, and I believe he's going to be 40 in December, and that's very young. But in football years, that's kind of old for him to be out there. But I believe that he will dust himself off and hopefully be back next season. Also, the Dallas Cowboys, absolutely tremendous game. It was defense. Defense was amazing with the Dallas Cowboys. Just go back to Aaron Rodgers. New York Jets did win last night, that was pretty exciting for them because they said that after they heard he was hurt. I don't know if they knew exactly how hurt he was until today, but anyway, they did win, and it was exciting. So very excited for the New York Jets. And back to the Dallas Cowboys. They pulled it off. I was amazing. I was so stinking excited that they did so well. And again, they pulled it off by their defense. You're like, how in the heck? Defense had over 40 points, fantasy points. So that was pretty amazing. But anyway, I'm sure you don't want to hear all this about fantasy football, but I just wanted to share a little bit of I guess I should even tell you one last thing. And guess who is first place on the fantasy league for the first week? You're listening to her right now. Henrie's Mama's Boys are number one. I got 128 points. So anyway, if you follow football, hopefully you enjoyed what I just shared with you. If not, I'm sorry if you're going to sleep. Wake up. It's time to wake up. But anyway, again, I just love football. It's just, for us as a family, it's just fun. We don't always get together. Of course, daughter's in Kansas now and to watch all the games, but it is fun, the little bit of competition that we have, but not a big deal. So this podcast is about judging. Went to church last week. I know, no, it did not snow because I went to church. No. When we were at church, and it was about pretty much judging. And I thought, that's really a good podcast. And what made me really want to do this is the group I belong with for our library in our small town, met with our local city mayor today. Very nice man. And he was very supportive about us getting a library here. And we can only hope that, we eventually, before I die, have a library here. Anyway, so we're talking to him and we leave, and it's a group of us, and I'm just on a natural high. I'm usually quiet, believe it or not, at these meetings. I'm more of the listener. And so I'm listening, and we're leaving. Oh, shake hands. Thank you. Nice meeting you, blah, blah, blah. And I said, that was amazing. I said, I feel so positive and da 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 da. I'm so happy. And it sounds like he's really, rooting for us. And one of the little young ladies that's there, she goes, Henry, you need to remember he's a politician. And she chuckles. And I thought, she's right. But then I thought, no, no, no. I'm going to believe that positive energy is true, what he really feels about us getting the library. And then I definitely knew I was going to come home and work on the podcast, and it just spilled over, and I've got notes. And how many of you have ever not judged someone? Do you judge people? Or have you ever not? Of course you have. We have all judged people. And again, this is what, yes, I'm talking about it because of church. But then this triggered it going to meet the mayor, but he really was a nice man, and I believe he is supportive. But do you continuously judge people? Now, don't forget, if you're saying no, you don't judge people, then that makes you a liar. If you heard last week's podcast, I am not a fan of liars. I think the title of last week's podcast was I hate liars. One thing I always told my kids, and still do, don't say hate. Just say I dislike someone, or and here I have a podcast that's world round. Anyone can hear it and has, and they hear me saying the word hate. And I really don't hate. I dislike liars. Maybe I can go in there and change the title of that. But anyway, so for you that have said, no, I don't judge anyone. No, I've never judged anyone. Yes, you have. In your life, even as a small child, kids judge. People judge. So what does it really mean to judge someone? Well, we make comments. And it's expressing our opinion of someone's behavior, or the way they dress, or the way they speak, or even the title they may have in life as a mayor. We judge them. And no, not every day. At least I hope not. But there are actually people that's their goal in life, it seems like, is to find something wrong with someone. We have all been judged by someone. You know you have. You may not have heard about it, but you have. Of course, there's always the friend that says, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but your friend said that you look hideous in that dress, and that you really shouldn't wear that because you're too overweight. No one told me that, but I'm using that as an example. I'm sure someone has thought it, but we all have been judgmental at some point. But let's say you say something to a person, an individual, or not even say it to them, because you're not going to say it to their face, because judgmental people don't say things to their face. We say it behind their back or to someone about that person. And this includes family. How we judge our family because they don't agree with what we think or the way we feel or even the way we dress. But have you ever said something about someone's speech? They may have a speech impediment, and you make fun of them. But then later on, you find out the only reason they speak that way is because they had a stroke or some sort of illness. My question to you is, did you feel bad? Did you think about it after you found out that something else was wrong? This is why we need to try not to be judgmental, because of the fact that we don't know these people's backgrounds, their lifestyle, or their health. But when you found out that something was causing the speech impediment, did you feel really bad? Did you think, oh my God, and then say something like, but I didn't know? Well, you shouldn't have said it in the first place, right? And for some, some people literally judge all the time. I've been around people like that. But it's always negative, so negative. And if you've heard my podcast previous, you know how I feel about negative people. Not a fan. get away from them, than those that think that they're better than others. And that's why they judge. And I hate to tell those people who think that they are better than others, you're not. Now, this is really something that I probably shouldn't say, but I say it anyway because I tell people all the time. We are no better than anyone, and no one is better than us. You want to know why? Because they wipe their ass the same way we do, unless they have a bidet. But more than likely, in their life, they have wiped their ass. So honestly, no one is better than anyone. So, and I mean that. I mean, some people just think they're so much better, and I don't get it. So is it normal to judge? Some things that we don't agree with is pretty much a reflection of things that we ourselves just don't know about or can accept. And we can't accept it about ourselves. So we live differently than those people and don't understand why they do a certain thing a certain way. But that's just who they are. I mean, if you're curious, like, why do you do that? Then ask them. And if they don't want to tell you, they're not going to tell you. It's none of your business. Did you know that the more we judge others, we are actually judging ourselves? What? Huh? How? What? It's because we are constantly seeing bad in others and everything. In our minds, in our, and that's horrible to say, but we are judging others because they aren't like us. Well, no two people are the same. You may have the same type of personality for some, but you're not the same. And you're still going to judge that person. I mean, on a lot of my podcasts, I'm talking about people because of something they did. Like the liars. Yes, I was being judgy. And yes, I am judgy. And to say that I'm not is a lie. So I try not to be judgy, but don't piss me off because then the judgment will come out. And it's not good to be a judgy person. Because it's just negative and that's wrong. I really try my best not to say negative things about people. I do. I honestly do. But sometimes you see someone living a certain way, which is wrong. And it's not being judgy. It's just being honest. Like last week's podcast about liars, I'm literally being honest how I feel about these people lying. So how can we, and that's, oh, wait, one more thing. Unfortunately, this bad, negative, we finally accept in our minds just to think negative. That some people do, not everyone, not me, obviously, because I hate negative stuff. But we just find negative and think negative, and that's part of our life. And that's not good. That is not good at all for anyone. So, this negative, as we have talked in the past, it can lead to stress. And stress is not a good thing. It's not good for anxiety, for your heart, for your mind. It's just not. So we really, yes, I'm preaching now, I guess, do not judge. Try not to judge. And I am trying my best. When someone ticks me off, I'm mad, but don't start, it's because I can tell you, I used to think like that. I mean, it is funny how when you get older, you start changing. Your mind starts changing and realizing how wrong you were for judging or lying or doing different things that we have done in our past. But of course, some people can't ever admit that they lied or they have cheated or that they have been judgmental. Me, on the other hand, I'll just tell you the way it is. Yes, I have done them. And that's just being honest. But there are a few ways to actually get away from judgmental people or avoid being in that group. I guess that's a good way of saying it. That type of person. And it is avoid stooping to their level. Don't jump in and start saying, you're right. And, they shouldn't have colored their hair that way. Oh, can you believe he's wearing that? Yeah, don't. Keep it to yourself. Or if you must, write it down in a book at home, a journal. I don't know. They'll find it after you're dead and gone and not know who you're talking about. And the other thing is try to get away from that person. Just get away from them. Just, it's wrong. And especially some people are really hateful and they're like nasty. You remember that movie Mean Girls? Yeah, that's something like that. That with Lindsay Lohan is a good teen movie, but get away from them. You don't need negative. Nobody needs negative. And the other thing is just call them out directly. Call them out. Have I done that? Yes, I have. Why are you saying that? You don't even know why. And I'll tell you who is probably one of the, he judges too, but not as much as my husband. If I say something, he will go, well, maybe it's because of this and that. And of course, he makes me realize, why am I saying that? Probably going to lose a lot of listeners because of this podcast. She is so judgy. No, I'm not. Trying my best to improve myself. But sometimes it gives people an illusion of control that they can judge. And usually their life is out of control. So it's easier to say, oh, well, they're this and that. It takes that attention away from their general life. So this is the main reason why I'm talking about judgment. And yes, I said some, I guess, kind of vulgar stuff earlier. Nothing too bad, but I'm human. And it's in Matthew 7, New Testament. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For the same way you judged others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured on you. So, instead of finding something so negative to judge someone on, we have to find a positive. Now, I recall when my kids were little and one would get upset with the other and they would come, Mommy, blah, 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 kids. And I'm like, no, And I'd say, you need to say something positive. Tell me something good about your sister, or tell me something good about your brother. It was really kind of cute. Now I think about it, it was funny. Because they would always say something like, I like their hair. Or I like the way they laugh. But literally, that would stop the bickering. They'd start to giggle and be on their way. I'm thinking when I start having that negative thing in my head, I'm going to start thinking of something positive about that person. And that's what I absolutely need to work on, because I would rather have positive than negative. That's what I think we all really need to do. Because I honestly want to make it to heaven, see my mom, see my dad, see my family members, my friends. And I don't want to be pounding at the pearly gates and saying, let me in. So is it too late for me to change my ways? No, it's never too late for anyone to change their ways. So here's my podcast on judging and how I'm going to try to improve myself. So perhaps my complaint podcast won't be so complaining about things. Maybe they'll just be about flowers and rainbows. No, that's not going to happen, because that's not the reality of life. But anyway, this is Henrie. Thank you for listening. Thank you for putting up with all my jibber jabber. And until next week, have a wonderful week and take care of yourself. But most importantly, find your blessings.